Hello, welcome to 14.1 day 2. Here is your problem of the day. Let's get color. So split your problem down the middle. Again, we are doing the same thing as the last class. So we are distributing this outside number to both terms on the inside. So this time we have a negative. We're going to do negative 2 times negative 2x. And negative 2 times 2 is going to get us negative 4x, because there's an x on there. Then we're going to do negative 2 times 2, which is going to get us negative 4. There's no x because there wasn't any x on those. All right, then we're going to distribute this 3 to 2x. 3 times 2x is 6 x's, and 3 times 2, it gets us plus 6. Now let's put together the variables. So I need to make a zero pair with the smaller variable. Which number is smaller, 6 or negative 4? Hopefully you said negative 4. So we're going to make a zero pair with that negative 4. So the opposite of negative 4 is a positive 4x. Those go away. I'm going to plus 4x over here. Then I'm left with negative 4 equals 6 plus 4 is 10x's plus 6. Now I need to get rid of that plus 6. So I'm going to do a negative 6. Those cancel. Minus 6. Negative 4 minus another 6. You can write it like this, negative 4 minus 6, keep, flip, change. Now I got negative 4 plus negative 6, that is a negative 10, equals 10x. So this is going to turn out nice. So we are then going to divide both sides by 10, because 10 divided by 10 gets us 1. And we're going to divide by 10 over here. So we are left with just 1x, which is what we want. And 10 divided by 10 is 1, and a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So we got negative 1. Okay, hopefully this is getting easier. It is now your turn to do this one on Nearpod. Check back in when you are done. All right, first things first, you should have split your problem down the middle. And then you should have multiplied negative 4 to 3x and to 5. Negative 4 times 3x gets you negative 12x, and negative 4 times 5 gets us negative 20. Then you should have done the same thing on this side, 2 times 2x and 2 times 6. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times 6 is 12. All right, so let's get those variables together. So I need to make a zero pair with the variable that is smaller. Is 4 smaller or is negative 12 smaller? Negative 12 is smaller, so we're going to put a positive 12x here because that gets rid of it. So I'm going to add 12x over here. I'm going to bring down that negative 20 equals, I have 12 x's plus 4 x's gets me 16 x's plus 12. Okay, so now I got to get rid of that 12. How I get rid of that 12? I need to make a zero pair. So I have a plus 12, so I need a negative 12 to make a zero pair. Minus 12 over here. So now I have negative 20 minus 12. I do keep, flip, change. Now I have negative 20 plus 12, negative 12. So I'm just going to add 20 and 12, and that gets me negative 32 equals 16x. Last but not least, we need to divide. So we're going to divide by 16, divide by 16, and we are left with x over here, and 32 divided by 16 gets us 2, and a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So you should have gotten negative 2. Well done. Hopefully you checked your work along the way. Moving on to today's stuff, pretty close to what we did yesterday. We are still going to make a graph, and we're going to interpret the scatter plot. So we're going to plot the points. We're going to identify those clusters, those groups of points, and the outliers, those ones that are out of the way. This is new. We're going to identify a positive, negative, or no association to these dots. So what we mean by that, a positive association of these dots would kind of look like this. So there's a whole bunch of dots and they go up. See, if you were to take your pen or pencil or take a ruler across this As your cursor goes from left to right, the dots are going upward. They are going uphill. Now a negative, what do you think, how do you think that goes? You got it, it goes down. So we got a bunch of dots and they are going down. This is a negative association. And then no association. Maybe someone has a guess for no association. If you said there's no line, you are correct. Association means it's just a random bunch of dots. And you're like, what the heck? So no dots. There is no way to get a trend line out of this. Like, it is just a cloud of dots. You can't make anything of it. That means that there's no correlation between the two data points that we're getting. So this is a positive trend line. It goes up. Negative trend line goes down. And no association means it's just, you can't get a line out of them. No line of best fit. All right. So yes, again, we got to plot all of these. So let's look at our axes here. So we got hours spent studying, and look, here's hours spent studying, okay? And then we have test grade and test grade, okay? So, and the bottom, it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it goes by halves. So this is a half, this is 1, this is 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. Okay, and then look, oh look, this starts at 50. This does not start at 0, so we got 50. This would be 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. So let's see, let's do hours spent studying and test grades. So let's get a color. So 0, hours spent studying, 0. They got a 75. So 0 and 75. Put it out. Okay, half an hour studying. They got an 80. Half an hour, 80. Okay, 1 hour, 80. 1 hour and 80. 1 hour and 85. 1 hour and 85. 1.5 hours and 85. Oops, that was a big dot. 1.5 hours and 95. Okay, 2 hours and 90. 2 hours and 90. 3 hours and 100. And 4 hours and 90. Okay, so we got all of our points on here. So we need to see what trend do you see in the data. So let's first identify our clusters and our outliers. So I see an outlier here. That's not really part of the pack. You might be able to consider this one an outlier. It's not necessarily in the group, but it is still in our trend line. If you see, like, our trend line kind of goes like this. You see that? So it is still, might be considered part of the trend. This one could probably also be considered an outlier. But I would say the bulk of them, I would say this is probably the biggest outlier that we have. This is a possible second. And I'd say the majority of our clusters here are they're kind of like here. There's the bulk of them. So we have a potential two different outliers. The cluster is between 0 and 2 hours. Our outliers are at 3 hours and 4 hours. And so those are some of those trends that we got. And then what kind of association is this? Is this going up? Is it going down? Is there no line? Like, can you not figure out, is there no pattern at all? Let's see, let's look at our examples. Oops. So I see, let's see, positive, I guess I should have labeled these, huh? Positive, negative, and I guess a question mark over here. So positive goes up, negative goes down, and these are just a big cluster of dots. So we don't have a big cluster of dots. It is not going down. It is going up. So from left to right, it is going up. So it's a positive trend line, meaning, so use the axes, what they say. So as the hours spent studying go up, what else goes up? Test grade. So the more time you spend studying, the better test grade you get. But when you get too far, though, there is a thing that you can actually overstudy. There is a thing where if you study too long, it could actually hurt your test grade because your brain can't handle that much. That's why you're supposed to study in like small amounts of time over a longer periods of time, not like crash for 4 hours the night before a test. So basically, in a short amount of time, the more time they studied, the better test grade they got. So it is a positive correlation. A negative correlation would mean if the dots were going down, would mean that the more time you spent studying, the lower your grade, the worse test grade you got. So there you go. Let's see, it says, do you think the grade associated with studying for 10 hours would follow this trend? So do you see, notice how 3 hours, sure, it went up, and then 4 hours it started going down. Do you think if they went to 10 hours, do you think it would still go up if they would have been like crazy, 100%? Or do you think it's going to stop, maybe go start going down? I personally think it would start going down because, I mean, you can't go any farther than 100%. So it would have to start going down. All right, well, just know all you had to do was we graphed all of our points. We found our outliers and the clusters, and then we made some interpretations by figuring out if it was positive, negative, or no solution or no association. And we made some interpretations using the axes and the units of measurements by saying that as the hours spent studying increased, test grades increase. So when we ask for to interpret the graph, we just want like a single sentence saying, hey, what is happening? What's going on with these dots? All right, let us know if you have any questions.